2002 Chrysler Sebring 2.7. They made this engine from 98 to 2010, I think. Sebrings, Concordes, there's a bunch of cars they put these engines in. So this is all pretty much the same job for all of those cars. It's got a bad water pump. There it is right there. That's a thermostat housing. It's buried behind the alternator and the AC compressor, and right next to it there's a hole there. That's a weep hole for the water pump. And that's where it's coming out of. It's coming out of that weep hole. It's not the thermostat housing. A lot of people will tear this apart thinking the housing's bad because it's leaking right there, but it's not. So I'm going to do this job. I looked on YouTube, and most of the jobs that were on there, they look pretty janky. So I'm going to try to make a better video than what everybody has. Yeah, it's really pouring out of there now. I put coolant pressure in it. So let's see if I can get a good look at this. Before you could see it dripping out of the bottom of the thermostat housing. And now it's not. Because it's coming out that hole. So that can make you like... That can really screw you and make you think it's a thermostat housing, because when there's no pressure, somehow it ends up running down the bottom of that thermostat housing, and it makes it look like it's a housing leak, but it's not. It's coming out that hole. The thing you want to do is drain the coolant. There's a plug. That's your drain plug. Right there. So I'm going to get that off. So yeah, it's not a hex, it's flat. But if you're lucky, you can take a 19mm 6-point socket. And as you turn it, it'll pop out. It's not really threaded, it's really good. But I got it. Chrysler little red child-proof connector on here. Pull that up. I'm going to take this upper intake manifold off first. $10mm on the inside of these intake. Little push clips on this. You push these in and this thing pops right out. There's a bracket right here on a 13mm. You just need to take out that one bolt right there. These are supposed to be reusable. I'm not going to. I'll buy them. Plug the holes. More child-proof connectors. He's got a little tab you push up and then it pops out like that. Stupid stuff. Stupid. Hey, this wire's going into a hose. What's the deal with that? It's an electric hose. Nice. There's a heater in there. $8mm on these coils. All these valve cover bolts are 10mm. These are really brittle and expensive, and they like to leak, so you might end up replacing it. You're forewarned. I think this one's been replaced already though, because when they're this old they never look that good. The camshaft sensor right here, I'm gonna wanna get that out of the way. Child-proof connector on that too. This mount, it just might piss you off because it's got to come off. These 3 bolts right here are 13 millimeter. It's falling, and that's as far as it falls. Okay, great. This camshaft sensor's got to come off. That's a 13 millimeter. I got to get this motor mount out of here. 15 millimeter bolts here, 2 of them. As you can see, there's all kinds of crap in my way. One looks like a coolant hose. It's bolted in on the frame over here. And there's a coolant tank in the way. There's another bolt right here for it. So I'm going to take a bunch of bolts off of here. I'm going to start with this 10 millimeter over here. And I can't really show it to you, but if you got eyes, you'll see it. I got another one right here, right down there, that one right there. Well, this line should be loose. Yeah, it moves around now. I'm going to take these coolant tank bolts out. I got a 8 millimeter here, 10 millimeter here. There's a wonder clamp right here, because it makes me wonder why they do this and why they put it here. Junk. Suppose I could have taken that bolt out too, but I didn't. There it is right there. Okay, that's how you get that piece of junk out. Ooh, look at that. 2-part. Not supposed to be that way. Next I'm gotta get this tensioner off. It's got some 13 millimeters on here. Got a 13 millimeter on this power steering pump. I'm just going to loosen that for now. That's a 21 millimeter. You got to take this off by hand. Either you got to get at the flywheel somehow to hold this down, or hold the crankshaft down somehow with like one of them chain vice grips you can get at Harbor Freight. I'm not going to try none of that crap though, because I got an impact. I got this harmonic balancer kit. You can probably rent something like this from a parts store. It's all funky, looks like this. You gotta kind of find the right. There's 3 of these bars. You gotta find the right one that'll. I think that's the one I need. Okay, now I think I can work on getting this cover off. That's looking like a T40 Torx. 13 millimeter here. Yeah, these don't come out either because they hit the frame, so they gotta come out and go in with the cover. I already got that one up top. Well, I got this power steering pump bracket I gotta get off. There's some 13 millimeters up here. I'm using a 3-foot extension on this. And then there's the other one. And the reason why you gotta get this off is because there's a tensioner behind it that I gotta take off for the timing chain. Now I took that power steering pump and I put a bungee cord on it to pull it out of the way. I got a couple of 10 millimeters on here. This is what's behind the power steering pump. This is your tensioner. Oh, there goes the tensioner. It flew out all on its own. That was fun. Now there's some plugs you got to take out of these cylinder heads. Looks like it's a 12 millimeter. I'll put a wrench on an Allen to get at this one because I don't have enough room for my ratchet. There's tensioner bolts in here you gotta get out. That's why you take those out. See, right now I got a loose chain, and I really should line all this crap up before I get any farther with this. I should have done that with this tensioner on, but yeah, whatever. I'll figure something out here. I took the tensioner out too quick, so I just put a board in between this guide and the block just to tighten it up, because that's the tensioner one. And then right here there's a mark here. It's an arrow, and then there's a mark on the crankshaft. You want to line those two up. You see these two marks on the chain? Those are one of the 3 factory marks to line up these sprockets. Hopefully the other 2 are around here somewhere. Yeah, and I just took some brake cleaner and put marks on here anyways, on the front and the rear, just to make sure if them marks aren't there anymore, I can still line this sucker up. But yeah, there's an arrow right there. That's for the chain links that are supposed to be marked. And there's a dot in the back here for the other chain. So I'll show you all that when I put it all together. Next thing I'm going to want to do is just loosen up these sprocket bolts. Okay, now that I got those loose, you can take the tensioner off, or take your 2x4 out. I almost forgot to do something very important. You're going to want to stick some rags in this hole down on the bottom. Okay, I stuck some rags down there, so none of these bolts or anything drop down in the pan. There's still oil in this thing too, so I didn't want to like stuff them down in there because they'll just get soaked up with oil. I just kind of laid them in there just real nice. Okay, I got this one now. This one here. This one should just slide right out somehow. There it is. Comes out the bottom. There should be another bolt right here. Okay, I'll just leave that one flopping in the breeze until I get that cam gear off. There's another one you can barely see. Oh wow, that one's behind the chain. So I got to get that sprocket off before I can take that one out. Okay, now I need to get this one off. Now I'm going to take these sprocket bolts out. Now I can get these out of here. Oh, that one came right out the bottom. Wow. There. Okay, now I can get this chain out of here, I think. And if you look on here, you got 2 gold marks there, you got a gold mark there, and you got a gold mark down here. Those are what you want to line all this stuff up with. Look at that, a water pump. I'm going to want something to soak up the little bit of water that's going to come out of here so it doesn't go in the pan. I left a bunch of bolts in it, 3 on the bottom, and I'm just going to pop this a little bit and see how much comes out of here. There's your weep hole right there. It's nice and wet. Now to clean these gasket surfaces, I'm just going to hit them with a razor blade. They should clean up real nice and real quick. Then after you scrape that off, you want to get some brake cleaner, spray it on a rag, and just wipe it, just to get the residual oil and antifreeze off of here.